So today we're going to work on some jumping skills, and we're going to do this just by using a piece of tape on the floor. So you can use masking tape, painter's tape, whatever you have available. I've even used, if you don't have any tape that you can stretch out on the floor, and this is about an 8-foot length, I've used an extension cord that I've put on the floor, and you can just make sure you secure the ends so that if your child is walking or jumping, they don't step on that because that could hurt. I've put them inside rolled up pairs of socks on either end, and then just had the extension cord on the floor, and that would work too. So the first thing we're going to do is just see how far we can jump. So when I do this with my students, I would have them put their toes up to the line. They're going to bend their knees and bring their arms back and get ready to jump. And then they're going to be a great big jump with 2 feet together as far as they can. And you really want to encourage them to try to land with those 2 feet together. So we're going to bend and jump. Good. And then what I would do is when they jump, I'd have them freeze. And the trick is to try to get them to stay on their feet and not fall to the ground, because we like to be a little silly sometimes. And I'd take a piece of tape and I would put it right behind their heels when they land to measure how far they can jump. And I would actually, a lot of times with my students, we'll work on measuring because that's a math skill. And I'd have them use the measuring tape and help me measure to figure out how far they jumped. Then, once we have that mark on the floor, we'll do it a few more times to see if they can beat their record, because all of my kids love to see if they can do it, go a little further, and they love to be able to do the measuring part. So we do this several times. So at home, you can work on this too and just add that as a jumping challenge, and then maybe even keep a tally somewhere, like, well, you know, this week your furthest jump was 6 inches, but maybe next week you can get up to 10 inches. And so that's a great challenge to have at home. I also take this tape off the floor. I would also work with my students jumping down a line. So consecutive jumps forward is really tricky, and trying to keep those feet together, again, take off and landing feet together. So we can put the line between our feet, bend and freeze, jump and freeze, jump and freeze, one more jump and freeze. Nice. So that's just some nice 2-footed jumping, doing consecutive jumping. Sometimes my students can jump 1 or 2 times, and then by the 3rd time, their feet start to come apart. Okay, so we want to work on that endurance and being able to jump multiple times down the line with keeping their feet together for the takeoff and the landing. I can also do some frog jumps. So I'm going to put my feet on either side of the line. I'm going to bend my knees and put my hands on the line, and I'm going to jump and come back down like a frog. Jump and come back down, jump and come back down. Frog jumps all the way down the line. I'm also going to do what I call some kangaroo jumps. So I'm going to come at the start of the line. I'm going to keep my hands and feet on the floor this time. I'm going to bring my hands forward and jump my feet to my hands. Hands, feet, hands, feet, hands, feet, hands, feet. So I'm keeping my hands and feet in contact with the floor as I'm jumping forward. It's also really fun to practice jumping backwards. And we can do the same thing we did with the tape on the floor. We can put our heels on the line, see how far backwards we can jump, and measure that distance too. It's not going to be as far as you can jump forward. We can jump backwards down the line, keeping the line between our feet. Jump back, 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 back. We can jump sideways down the line, trying to keep those feet together. And make sure if you jump to the left, then you also come back jumping to the right, so we work on both sides. Sideways, 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 and come back. Last one is we can do some ski jump down the line. So we're going to jump side to side, but in a diagonal forward pattern, keeping that line, keeping our feet on either side of the line. So we can start doing it in place. So I'll just stay in this spot, jumping side to side over the line. And then I can come to one end and see if I can do that coming forward. You could even do it going backwards. So those are some jumping challenges for today, using nothing more than a piece of tape on the floor. So jumping forward for distance, backwards for distance, jumping consecutive jumps forward with 2 feet together, frog jumps coming down with hands on the floor and then jumping up high, kangaroo jumps, keeping our hands on the floor, bring the hands forward, jump your feet to your hands forward again, feet to hands, jumping backwards down the line, side to side over the line, or ski jumping in diagonal patterns, keeping that line on either side of your feet. So I hope you had fun. Keep practicing your jumping at home and have a great day.